Welcome, stranger. I have a quest for you if you are brave enough to accept it. Success is not guaranteed. You might fail, but you will learn some skills along the way. You'll have great experiences along the way. So it will be worth it in the end. The worst type of failure that can happen is public humiliation or personal embarrassment, but that is, to be honest, not very likely. That's the worst case fail state, as it were. And I'll tell you what this quest is in a moment, but first I want to talk about this new game that has come out. It's called Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and it's a RPG set in medieval Bohemia. Now, I have not played the original game, but I heard it's very good. I would see reviews online and people were saying how good it was. Apparently, it's very realistic in terms of the world, and I'm really interested in history, so I find that fascinating. And apparently, the game is really difficult. So, I don't play many games anymore, but I remember back in the day when I used to play, some games were really hard. Like, you would have to get good at the game in order to play through it, right? And I remember as a kid being legitimately proud sometimes at being so good at the game because it took effort to pick up the skills of playing the game. Now, from what I've heard and seen, it seems that within the world of gaming, there's been somewhat of a shift towards games being an experience. Not all games, but there has been a rise in games that are meant where you are paying for an experience and not necessarily to play a game in terms of developing the game's skills. And so with the previous version of the game that I'm talking about, apparently in the beginning there was a lot of criticism because it was very hard to play. But because of that, it grew a really dedicated fan base because these people, they were saying, wow, this is the way games used to be, where you weren't instantly this badass that was destroying all the enemies. No, you had to get good as a player. So there's a difference between your character in the game being very powerful and you as a player being able to make the right decisions, master the controls in order to beat the game, as it were. And so, as I said, there's been this shift towards one way of playing games and experiencing games. And this game, apparently, the previous version, harkens back to the previous way of doing it, where you had to get good as a person playing the game. Anyway, so the point is, the game was hard to play, but as you learned how to play it, you would get better, and it was a very rewarding experience, apparently. And I assume that this sequel, this new version of the game, it will be the same. Now, before I continue, I'm not hating on gaming as a hobby or an interest, but when I said earlier about giving you a quest, what I would like to raise as a potential for yourself is that you could give yourself a quest. You could treat yourself like an RPG character, because in these games you practice skills and you get better as a player, but your character in the game gets better as well at wielding a sword or shooting arrows. And often in these games you can choose what to focus on. Oh, I want to be good at long distance combat, or I want to be good at swords, or if it's a game with magic, you can focus on becoming a magic user. And that's something you can do in real life as well. And I sometimes feel that this is forgotten amongst a lot of people. A lot of people seem to get to a stage where they feel that their personality and their skill set is static, and now I am just the person that I'm always going to be, outside of maybe their day job, where they do recognize, okay, I will get better over time at my day job. But you can level up at all kinds of things, right? You can learn a new language, you can learn to play an instrument, you can pick up a sport, or become stronger or faster by going to the gym. There's all kinds of things that you can level up in, but I understand it's not always easy to have the motivation to do that. So that's why I think it's a good idea to have a quest, because by pursuing this quest, you will have to pick up new skills. You will have to level up in various ways. And I find myself, through the pursuit of wanting to make music and share my music with the world, I find myself doing things that I would in other circumstances not be particularly motivated to do. For example, I'm not somebody that's really interested in logistics or people management and all that kind of stuff. But when I wanted to record music for the EP, the project that I've been releasing over the past year, I had to organize for a drummer to be flown out to a different country. I had to organize his hotel, his flights, to make sure that he could eat the kind of food that he wanted to eat, that he would be comfortable in that situation, so that he could focus fully on drumming. And yeah, I had to organize all of that, and that's the kind of thing I can do for myself. If I go traveling or on a holiday or whatever, I'm happy to do that. It's great, you're going on holiday, you're looking forward to it. That's exciting. But to do it for other people, it's not something I'm particularly interested in, right? Or when it comes to organizing a gig, for example. So recently I hosted a night in Kentish Town here in London. It's called Mellow Monday, and it's this chill acoustic night. And I had to organize 6 acts for that evening. So I'm finding the acts, I'm emailing them, I'm organizing the running order of the night, I'm making sure on the night that they know when it's time for them to go on, and I have to get up in front of people and introduce the acts and all these kinds of things that I would normally not really be interested in doing. And it's interesting how sometimes people will encounter me in one circumstance, and I might come across as somebody that is shy, or doesn't, or is afraid to get up in front of an audience, or that kind of stuff. And I'm not. It's just that in a lot of circumstances, I'm not interested in doing that. I prefer just keeping to myself and sitting in the background. I don't need to, despite being a musician and despite fronting a band, I don't have this inner need to get in front of people. But when I have a particular motivation to do things, because I have my quest, then all of a sudden I will do things that people might not expect from me. So yeah, back in the day when I used to sit in an office, working, people might think, oh, that guy's really quiet. And I am quiet. I am I do keep to myself. But if I write a song that I'm really proud of and I want people to hear it, well, there's no other... I have to get in front of people. I have to get on stage. I have to sing my songs. And because I believe in what I'm doing, I don't... Of course, when I first started, I was really nervous about it. But yeah, I persevered. That was my quest. And the same goes for organizing gigs and organizing rehearsals and all that kind of stuff. Because I have this big quest, some people call it your why, you know, within the motivational world, people talk about knowing your why. I have a why, I have a quest, that's what I call it. And through pursuing this quest, I need to level up in various ways. And in some ways, I'm doing it consciously. I think, well, okay, I need to get better at singing. If nobody else wants to sing my songs, then I have to do it myself. So I have to learn to become a better singer, and I have to learn to become a better performer, and I need to work on my stage presence. And the skills that I need are either naturally developed, or, as I said, I have to be conscious of it and think, okay, I need to get better at this, I need to get better at that. And both work, right? And sometimes you hear people say, there's a saying, the obstacle is the way, right? So the obstacles that you encounter, excuse me, the obstacles that you encounter during your quest are the things that will teach you the most and make you stronger and develop you as a person. Sometimes I see on YouTube, I see people talk about how men in particular, I don't know if it's, I'm sure it's the same for women, but I see a lot of men talk about this, about how men don't know what their place is in the world anymore, and they're confused about what it means to be a man and all these kinds of things. Now, I don't want to downplay people's struggles and existential crises, but I wonder personally how many existential crises, I'm going to look that up later, how many of those would be resolved if these guys, or people in general, just picked a quest, decided to do something. Back in the day, you could say, right, I'm going to get in a boat, I'm going to sail far away and discover a new land. New to me. There might be people there, but that already discovered it from their point of view, but you will discover it for yourself. Yeah, that's what people used to do. And for better or for worse, I'm not saying we should go around conquering again, you know. That's not a legitimate thing to do anymore. But you can have a quest. You can just pick a quest. Right, I'm going to become a Premier League footballer, or I want to run a business that is worth $1 billion, or I want to be a rock star, or I want to travel to every single country in the world. You can just pick a quest like that and you can go after it. And you might not succeed. You might fail, but by pursuing it, you will give yourself meaning and a why. And it won't always be enjoyable along the way. It's not always a happy situation, but it can be fulfilling. And there's no telling what will happen along the way, who you will meet, how you will develop your perspective on things, what you will learn, the skills that you will level up. So, yeah, I'm not saying don't play this game, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Have fun with it, but you can be your own RPG. You are an RPG. You're role-playing yourself. I remember seeing somewhere, did I read it somewhere or did I see it on YouTube, where somebody said that in a game, you can change your character. You can decide to be an elf or a dwarf or a human or whatever, right? But the quest of the game is fixed. Whereas in real life, it's the other way around. You are given the avatar that you inhabit, but then it's up to you to discover your own quest. And I thought that was a really interesting way to look at it. But I think it's really important to have a quest. And it doesn't have to be like, it could be to be the best family member. If you're a parent, you could be like, my quest is to become the best parent. Or you could do research to help discover how to fix the environment or to lower pollution or something like that. Anything, but you have to have a quest. I don't understand. When I see people that are experiencing an existential crisis, it's because they don't have a quest. And then they will say, oh yeah, but what is my quest? I don't know what my quest is. Well, I think the Buddha said something about this. I think he said, like, you know, you have to like live out, fulfill your purpose. And if you don't know what your purpose is, then your purpose is to find your purpose. So just try different things. Go to different classes and read different books about things. And if you don't like the book, what the topic is about, then stop reading it and pick up another book or read on Kindle or whatever. Just be relentlessly searching for things and following your interests and curiosities. And don't just be a consumer, right? Be a creator or a leader or a teacher or a facilitator. Because that is, you're just going to fool yourself into thinking that you're doing something. And look, again, I'm not hating on playing a game or watching a movie or reading a book or anything like that. But there has to be an element where you are doing something yourself, where you are leveling up yourself. Okay, I should stop there and say, by the way, like, some people will say that you shouldn't get into a trap where that you feel this constant pressure to improve all the time, and that if you are not improving in some way, that you are doing something bad. And, you know, that's something that you have to weigh up for yourself, whether you can deal with that or not. You shouldn't be beating yourself up when you're relaxing or anything like that. And maybe it's okay to just be, but that's a whole nother conversation to have. You can allow yourself to just be and not try or reach or aspire to anything. That's valid as well. But this is for, what I'm talking about now is for the people that don't know what to do, or feel like there's some emptiness within them, or there's some kind of lack of direction. Yeah, so what I'm saying is there is a quest for you. There's a quest for you out there in the world, and you can decide to go on that quest, should you be brave enough to do so.